Well, Jim Redman, you're fondly remembered here in the Isle of Man for your 6 wins, 2 250s, 3 250s and 3 350s back to back. Quite a record, and one that is remembered fondly by your many fans.
Thanks, Geoff. Yeah, it's always good to come back to the Isle of Man and to a day like today where the people that remember us, old fogies, are out there. Come and see us. You know, we're old enough to remember the time when racing was dangerous and sex was safe. It's all changed around now.
No, you came first with, I think, the Nortons, didn't you? And that would be the late 50s, would it?
Yeah, 1958 and 59 I rode my own bikes, and 1960 actually, and then I got a ride for Honda at the Dutch TT, which of course was the end of June, so it was just after the Isle of Man. And then for that year they invited us one race at a time, so I raced my Nortons and the Hondas whenever I was invited, which fortunately for me, once I got the ride at Assen and I managed to get a decent place, I never failed to be invited.
It was a great company to work for, wasn't it? And you took a more active role than just riding.
Yeah, well, they made me team manager. You know, we weren't very organised in that department, and Honda said they had no one to do it, and I said, yes, you do. I'll do it as well. You know, and it wasn't team manager. It was looking after the riders and the entries and organising the start money and stuff like that. So I did that whilst Ike's-san organised the mechanics and who worked on which bike and so on and so forth. You know.
It was a big team in those days, though, wasn't it, in the mid-60s?
It was a big team compared to the 60s, but compared to today, when they arrived with such much better equipment, we had 5 little Honda buses with about 5 bikes in each. And we worked in the long grass like the privateers and had less equipment than even the poorest privateer today has more.
So you look on with envy at Valentino Rossi's setup, do you?
And yet when you have that little team in 5 or 6 years came home with 96 Grand Prix wins and 12 World Championships, we did okay, you know. But we did much better than some of these big teams today.
But the European riders won most for Honda, didn't they, in the Grand Prix? The Japanese riders were never quite on the pace.
No, in those days they were just new in the game, you know.
And yet on the Yamahas, Fumio Ito really put the wind up you, didn't he?
Yeah, sort of. He was quick, but he wasn't very consistent, you know. So he'd do a flying lap, but he wasn't a danger to when you beat him for the race.
Okay, now the 350 Honda appeared to be your favourite, is that so, the 354?
Well, you know, what can you say with a bike that took me to 4 World Championships? It was so reliable and such a good bike. Mike didn't like it when he came in the team. He said, how do you ride the thing, you know? And I said, well, it's your fault because you go so quick. I had to make a bike get Honda to make a bike that was lower and shorter and faster. And you had to sacrifice the handling, but you know, when you got Hayward to beat, you have to do something. You can't just try and outride him. That's a hell of a job, you know.
He was on the 4-cylinder MV at the time. That was a bit unwieldy, wasn't it? You got the centre of gravity down. And
I don't think it was unwieldy. I think it was a very good handling bike. And they sacrificed the handling for... They sacrificed the speed for handling. And so it was a heavier bike. And that's why he was a bit disenchanted with the Hondas when he first joined us, because he wasn't used to riding something that was lively and twitched a bit and all the rest of it, you know.
He soon learned, though.
Oh yeah, you know Michael.
He hadn't a clue mechanically, but he could ride him, couldn't he?
Yeah, best the world's ever seen, in my opinion.
Now, you've written a book about your experiences, and it's one of the best I've ever read, really, because you tell it as it really was.
Thanks, Geoff, yeah.
How have you got on with sales of it all?
Yeah, I've been very good. We've sold about 15,000 already, so it's and still going strong, you know. I've got the new video from Duke, and quite amazing. I was at the Thunder Sprint, and I sold as many books as I did videos, and I thought by now the book would be drying up, but I've been lucky. People quite a compliment. People have borrowed somebody's book and read it, and then they've wanted one of their own, so they've come and bought one, which is nice. It keeps the sales going.
Well, you started with a difficult family beginning, didn't you? But you made your name to become one of the world's famous motorcycle road racing riders when it wasn't a very fashionable sport, but it became so, didn't it, with the glamour of the Japanese?
That's right, yeah. And now with the sponsors coming in, you know, I really envy the riders, firstly for the bikes they ride. You know, they've got such good handling, brakes and tyres and things like that. It must be a pleasure, you know, to race a bike like that you can't really fault. And we thought our bikes were fantastic, but when you see how old-fashioned they are today, and the brakes, we didn't have brakes, you know, we thought we had brakes, but these guys have really got them.
Well, it didn't stop Valentino Rossi casting his 5-cylinder Honda away this morning in the warming-up session, so you've still got to ride him, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, you've got to stay on, that's a big thing.
Okay, pleasure to talk to you again.
Thanks, Geoff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Frank Perris, I think we've got Sammy Miller with his Gilera replica there. You were never aboard a Gilera. I think my memories fondly more are with you with the work Suzukis.
I was, but I was the last person to ever race a Gilera.
At Brands Hatch, was it?
At Brands Hatch, yeah.
You went well on it too.
I was going well on it until it failed before the finish.
Would it have been a good bike for you to ride here?
Yes, I've my sponsor, my Italian my Dutch sponsor, Ferry Brouwer, has produced, he's got a 1957 version of it. Anyway, he's made the most beautiful job of it, and I rode it at the Saxon Ring last week.
Good, but the Suzuki's here 125 and 250 with the thing. The 4-cylinder 250 was a hairy model to ride, wasn't it?
It wasn't a nice machine, no. It injured a lot of people, including myself, but unfortunately it was just getting right when they disbanded it and took it. And it's a great shame, because I'm sure if they'd have brought it back in '66, it would have been something to, you know, to win races.
Okay, well, you're fondly remembered here. Thanks for those words.
It's a pleasure.
We'll speak again.
I'm still racing now. I was just out the last weekend.